Hi everyone, this is Eldad Amara with my channel Eyes Wide Shut. I'm going to talk today about words and phrases. Our words and phrases carry frequency and energy, and we have to be mindful of these words and these phrases. And sometimes we have to look at the words in reverse, right? Take, for example, democracy. Democracy is really nothing but demon crazy. That's right, I said it. It's nothing but demon crazy. You see, we vote for government, right? We elect MPs to stand in the Houses of Parliament and the Houses of Lords in order to represent us. That's what democracy is. That is what democracy is supposed to be about. That we elect certain MPs in order to represent us in the Houses of Lords and the House of Parliament. But check this out. Right? There are some MPs, not all of them, there are some MPs that are into the dark side. There are some prime ministers and presidents, believe you me, they're into the dark side. They're into the dark forces. Now, there's a book by a guy called Ralph Epperson, and it's called The New World Order. Go and buy this book. I'll tell you, it is so informative. The New World Order, right? How a group of people, yeah, dark forces, Luciferians, how they're planning to rule the world. Let me show you the other side of this book. Go buy this book. Ralph Epperson. Ralph Epperson. This book I bought for about £6. It's probably gone up to about £10 now. All right. But it's a very informative book. The New World Order. There's some of our MPs, some of our prime ministers, and some of our presidents, and they're on the dark side. Trust what I'm telling you. They worship Lucifer. Right? I'm not saying everybody, but there are a lot of people that we elect who follow dark forces. So democracy is nothing but demon crazy. Number two, television. Television. Okay? It tells lies to you visually. It tells lies to your vision. You see, we're distracted often by TV and by adverts and by magazines and by the social media. These are all forms of distraction. There was a guy, a Roman poet, and his name was Juvenal, right? A poet called Juvenal. And he said, give the people bread and circuses. Why give the people bread and circuses? Because if you give people bread and circuses, it keeps them distracted. It keeps them distracted. Not only that, you are appeasing them. So whilst you're doing something over there, right, you're distracting them because they're watching something over here, right? You're being distracted because you're too busy watching these TV adverts, watching the news, and half the time it's fake news that you're watching, okay? There's certain people who control the media, the mass media, and allow you to see certain things on TV, okay? Now, as I say again, television is nothing but telling lies to you visually. There's a famous saying, and it's, believe nothing of what you hear and half of what you see. And I'll say that again, believe half of what you hear. Believe nothing of what you hear, sorry, and half of what you see. Now, libraries. Libraries, you go to a library in order to take out books, okay, to borrow books. Sometimes you can buy books in libraries, but the main point against a library is so you can borrow books, right? But a lot of the books and the history in these books are lies. Libraries are nothing but where lies are buried. You've been told that Christopher Columbus, for example, that he discovered Americas. He discovered the Americas, and he also discovered the Caribbean. How could he have discovered something if there were people already living there? How can you discover something if people were already living there? This is lies. They distracted you and give you misinformation about 9/11. You've had things taught to you about this moon landing in the 1960s. Was there really a moon landing in the 1960s? We're starting to find out that no, there was not a moon landing. There's been lots of documentaries on this. We've been told that a certain celebrity, right, she went to space. A certain celebrity, and she went to space with a load of other women. Her initials are KP. Her initials are KP. She's allegedly gone to space. Was this true? Was this true? She's a singer and actor. Initials KP. Welfare. What is welfare? We have a welfare system in this country, in the UK, but that is slowly being eroded. When you go to hospital, it's very, very difficult now to get a hospital appointment. There's a massive backlog. Try getting a doctor's appointment, and it's really, really hard now to get a doctor's appointment. You've got to ring up and sometimes have to wait for a week or two before you can get to see a doctor. Note also, there's a massive backlog of people waiting for operations. Sometimes when you go to a hospital, there's people in beds sat there waiting for an operation, and they're there for sometimes days waiting for an operation because there's not much beds, right? The welfare system really means farewell. Welfare means farewell. It looks like they're trying to move us towards going private, because that way we'd be seen much more quicker, but this costs us money. And only those people who can really afford it can afford to go private. All right? Look at the pharmacies in England, how they're taking over slowly some of the roles of the jobs of doctors. They're taking over some of the roles of doctors. Welfare means farewell to welfare. Mortgages. In the UK, the average mortgage is a 25-year mortgage. Okay, but now mortgages are becoming so expensive. The interest rates on our mortgages are becoming so expensive. So now they're starting to put up mortgages up to 40-year mortgage. 40-year mortgage. That means that to pay a house off, it's going to take you nearly half of your life to pay off the mortgage. Mortgage means that you would have died and gone to the morgue by the time you'd have paid off that mortgage. You'd have died and gone to the morgue by the time you paid off that mortgage. That is what mortgage. Mortgage. Morgue. They've gone to morgue and aged by the time you paid off that debt. Government. Government. What does that mean? Government means governing your mental. We have governments, and they're supposed to be there, again, as I say, to represent us. But how much of the time when you put these people in office, do they do the things that you requested? Maybe one or two things, one or two policies or laws get passed, but most of the time, they do what they want to do and not what you requested them to do. And there's hundreds of laws every year. Sorry, not even every year, every week. There's hundreds of laws that's been made. How much say did you have in these laws? How much say did you have in these laws? They're controlling your mental. Government means governing your mental. making promises that they can do this and they can do that. Instead of having reduction in, say, your mortgage, the mortgages keep going up every year. Energy prices, they never seem to come down, they keep going up every year. Community charges keep going up, they don't seem to come down. You've got other issues such as bad roads, poor roads, potholes in the roads. Have these roads improved since certain governments I've been in? These roads are so bad, and it doesn't matter what government seems to get in, hasn't changed anything. Surveillance. Surveillance is a really big thing right now. We have surveillance cameras just about everywhere watching people. You go into your supermarkets and you've got surveillance cameras in there. You go into your petrol stations and they've got surveillance cameras in there. You're walking down the road and there's surveillance cameras watching you, right? So you're being surveilled every single where that you're going. Did you ask for this? Okay, they say the government, that's a form of protection, a way of keeping people safe. But it's becoming so personal, infringing on our personal lives. We got cameras just about everywhere. Smart meters. Do you know smart meters? They can be turned off externally. Did anyone tell you anything about this? That smart meters can be turned off externally. They can be controlled externally if you don't pay for your bills. If your bills are too high, they can turn off your supply externally. Do you know about this? We have to watch words and phrases, and sometimes we have to reverse the words back to front, reverse the words to get the true meaning. Anyway, this is Eldad Amara with another video. Over and out. And before I go, just remember, words are spells. Words carry frequency. Words carry vibration. And words affect us. It affects our mental, physical, and spiritual